Recently, I had this question come up on one of my products. So, this is from the Pencil Cup Tinkercad lesson plan. And when this teacher was working on it, their students were not able to find the quatrefoil pattern for the cup. So, today that's what we're going to be talking about. You're going to learn how to add an activity in Tinkercad in just a few clicks. I'll show you how to add an activity to your classroom, share it with students, and make sure they're able to copy and tinker really easily. So whenever I'm in the teacher view and I search quatrefoil or I search pattern, all of these options come up and I can add them to my work plane. But whenever I'm in student view, I can go to search, and if I search pattern, it only finds two things. I can also try searching quatrefoil just to see if that comes up, and nothing comes up. So the reason that this is that in my Tinkercad classroom, safe mode is on for students. So I can either toggle this off for students so that they're able to find those patterns in the community or the things that people have added in the Tinkercad community, or I can turn safe mode off for all students. But if you're like me and your district requires you to have safe mode on, especially for students under the age of 13, then I would suggest leaving safe mode on and then just creating an activity for your students. So the way that you can do that is you can start on your home screen and then you can go to classes. And then you're just going to open up the class and go to activities. You can create a new activity and then name it what you would like. So we'll just do the pencil cup as an example. You can add a description if you would like, and then you will create the activity. So in this activity, you can have several designs that are shared with students. You can have designs, circuits, code blocks, tutorials, anything that you want to share with students. And then the student work will be down here. So you'll be able to see all of the things that students have turned in just from this activity. So this keeps everything really organized. So then you're just going to do create new design. And then here's where I could go ahead and name it. So we'll automatically be named this for students. And then I can go to search and find that quatrefoil pattern that I needed students to have access to. So I'm just going to insert this onto my work plane, and then that way it's ready for students. So if you have purchased my pencil cup for students to create and they're having a hard time finding that pattern because you have safe mode on, then they will be able to easily get it through this activity that you're going to share with them. The students are going to be able to create the rest of the pencil cup. So then when I return to this activity, I see that this design is shared with students. So now when I go to the student view, they're going to go to their home screen and they'll go to classes. And when they go into their Tinkercad classes, they will see the activity that I've just added. And when I click on this, it will have the shared with me here. And this is the really great thing about creating an activity here is that the student actually has to copy and tinker. So they will not be messing with your design. They will have to create their own design. So I'm just going to click on this and do copy and tinker. So it has copied that for my students and it has named it copy of pencil cup. So I can just have my students come in and change it by adding their name there. And then they will go through each of the steps in the lesson. So this is a really great way to jumpstart students' projects or give them more difficult tools that it might take them a long time to create, and you don't want to waste class time with that. So another lesson that I've done for students that is a little more difficult or a little more time intensive is creating the fidget clickers. So I'm just going to name this fidget clicker. And then there are some things that I've created on my own. So I'm just going to insert the hole for the fidget clicker and the top for the fidget clicker that the keyboard mechanical switch can fit into. So these two pieces are something that students would no longer have to create, and that I've gone ahead and done that and taken some of the time out of the activity. Also, this is another example, is this articulated connector that I've created for students. I teach them how to create it in my snake module, but if students are having a hard time with this, or I don't want students to have to create this or take the time to create it, then this is something I might go ahead and put in and add for an activity. But you don't have to find it in your creations. You can just go to basic shapes and you can add any of the things that you want to add so that students will have access to it in their activity. Another way that you can add this to your activity is just from this page. So if I wanted to add this fidget clicker to an activity, I'm just going to go to this in my dashboard. I'm just going to go to this settings gear, and then I can add it to a class activity. So I can add it to pencil cup, which is already here, or I can create a new activity. So I'm just going to add design and I can view my activity. And now here are the two things that my students have access to. So within this design, when students go to an activity, now they have two different options. So if you want to give your students choices, this is a great way to do that, is to build out an activity and students have to choose one of the things that they have to do right here, all in one place. And they just copy and tinker. And then the student designs are right here for the teacher to see, and it keeps everything organized and in one place. If this was helpful, let me know. And if you want more practical Tinkercad tips for your classroom, then check out my Introduction to 3D Printing down in the show notes. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. See you guys next time. Okay, bye.